Welcome to the 1% Better Recruitment Podcast. I'm your host, Charles Kiriakou. If you're new around here, this podcast ultimately aims to get you 1% better every single episode, but it's unlike most recruitment podcasts. We have a lot of fun on this show. We share some crazy stories, wild anecdotes. We talk about some things that you probably won't hear on most recruitment podcasts. But at the end of the day, my whole goal is to elevate the industry at least 1% after each episode. You probably noticed I'm wearing my Milo t-shirt. So myself and two other trainers have set up a new business, which is AI role plays, AI coaching, backed with over 100 videos from 3 expert trainers in the recruitment field. So if you are interested in that, we are in the process now of trying to raise some funding. So we need all the help that we can get, but it's going to be such an exciting product to take to market. So yeah, if you want to get involved in that, reach out to us. And if you are enjoying the podcast and you're not following on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or subscribing here on YouTube, what the heck are you doing? Let's get into this week's episode. I hope you guys enjoy. Nicholas, thank you very much for coming on the podcast. Thank you very much for coming around the house. So we've got some very exciting topics to talk about today. Before we get into those, for people that may or may not know who you are, what you do, etc., just give us a bit of an intro.
Yeah, I'm Nicholas Thomas, and I'm the CEO of a company called Everhire, and we specialise within civil engineering and renewable energy recruitment within the US and Scandinavia. We've got one office in the UK, one office in Sweden, fully staffed, runs independently. Next year, what's the date now? 28th of November. So by next year, we'll have one in Denmark and one in Austin, Texas as well.
Love it. Amazing. So I think for me, the number one thing I want to talk about is the subscription service, the RPO. I think you did a post somewhat recently about selling a huge subscription service.
2.1 million.
2.1 million, yeah. So for me...
fourth one I've sold.
So fourth one you sold, yes. I want to dive into that as much as possible. I know we wanted to talk a little bit about why some recruiters struggle at the minute to sell retainers, the subscription service, RPOs, etc. So there's a lot to sort of unpack. But tell us a little bit about this huge, because you've sold 4, but this one's obviously huge, right? So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's really just due to the demand and the needs of the customer. I would, in my personal opinion, like if you're working, so I don't know what everyone listening kind of companies they would work with, but I mean most recruiters are working with companies that got significant turnover. So the companies that we work with will have anywhere from 200 million to up to $1 billion plus turnover a year, not profit, turnover. So if you think £2 million in comparison to that turnover isn't really that much. And these companies do have large volumes of hiring that they want to do. It's just about the way that you position yourself, the journey that you take the customer on. And I can go into this in a bit more detail, but it's also about, I think if you're positioning, and this might sound like what, like, that doesn't make sense, but if you're a recruiter, hello boy, hello. If you're a recruiter and you're selling like CVs or doing placements, like that's not really what you want to be doing. It's where you're positioning your service as something that's going to facilitate the overall business objectives of your customer. And that's kind of the big point that you need to do to get these RPOs.
Yeah, I think that's a really big point. I spoke to somebody yesterday, recording an episode of the podcast, and he was talking about like how his business can sell more retainers and what recruiters can do to add value. And I actually mentioned, I didn't name drop you specifically, but I said I've got a very exciting guest coming on, and we had a lengthy conversation about all the different things that you can do to add value. Because I don't know about your previous businesses or people that you know from your network, but I've worked within a lot of businesses where they're retained and contingent package, the only difference in it is one is money up front and there's no added value.
Yeah, well, it was odd because the first business, so I worked at a business like big corporate for 5 years, something like that, but I didn't even know, I kind of just stumbled across retained. There used to be some lady on LinkedIn, there was like 30 days to retain. Do you ever remember those?
Archer or
maybe, but her ads were everywhere.
Right.
And I didn't know, like I wasn't taught what retained was, like we just did contingent. So I went to my director at the time and was like, oh, like, have you heard, I thought I'd found something revolutionary. Like, have you heard about this way that companies do stuff where you get part of the money up front, you get part, how good's that? And he was like, yeah, but no one will buy it. And it was kind of like in my mind, and like, all right, well, we'll see. So then started doing retained there. And I think a lot of the time people build up these blockers and stuff that like they can't do. The first, I've never actually said this publicly, it's said outside of the company, but the first ever RPO that I ever sold, I'd never sold an RPO before. And then my CEO, this is at another company that I was working at, was like, oh, you know how to do this, like you've done it before. I was like, yeah, of course, no worries, yeah, of course I know how to do it. I had no idea. Next thing you know, we're in front of this 15,000 person company. Obviously not all 15,000 at once, but the CTO, the CEO and the CFO working on this mad project for NATO, pitching this service, this RPO I've developed. I've never pitched on someone in my life. End of the meeting, they're like, yeah, we'll sign there and then, bang, 50 positions.
Wow.
I can say a lot more about that, but that was crazy, that one. But I think a lot of it is people just build up all these like blockers, but the value of any of it, like retained, RPO, subscription, any of these like ways that everyone wants to be working at the minute, it's not like you've got to get rid of like, I need to generate a fee, I need revenue, I need commission. Like, yeah, cool, you do need that, but that should be a byproduct of what you're doing. So really, when you're positioning and selling a retainer or an RPO, like it always needs to be, because it's not a cost for recruitment, it's an investment that they're making in their business to get the results that they want.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people position stuff as like, we'll fill this job, which then means that's a cost rather than an investment that's going to help them achieve their business goals.
Yeah. I think that's a really interesting like mindset shift, isn't it? Because a lot of recruiters, unfortunately, and I think largely this comes down to the fact that not many recruitment businesses, it's not like a regulated industry. It's not like being a lawyer where there's like a code of ethics.
I do wish there was a slight, I know people are like, recruitment's brilliant because there's no barrier to entry, but I personally wouldn't mind if there was a little bit of a barrier to entry, but...
Yeah.
I mean, we're just above estate agents.
Yeah, I know. And in the UK especially, I mean, you know, in the US, like my old company that I worked for, not the one before that, they said that in the States, like recruiters are seen as like, you know, it's a good profession to be in. Whereas in the UK, it's like...
Well, to be fair with you, in Sweden as well, most people there have studied either HR with a focus on recruitment or... sociology or psychology or these kind of things. So does seem to be, it's only in the UK where it's kind of got this stigma. I
mean, I've said this on the podcast before. When I was recruiting nurses as contract recruiter, I'd go to like my mum's friend's house and they're like, so what are you doing now, Charlie? What do you do for work? I'm like, and my mum would interrupt me and go, oh, he's in healthcare. I'm like, yeah, I recruit nurses. It was like, oh, he works in orthopedics. He's always wanted to work in orthopedics. I was like, oh, really? So you're doing surgeries? I was like, I go into surgeries, yeah, but I recruit the nurses. And my mum was like, oh, yeah. And they're like, oh, so you're in recruitment? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh, is that a good career, is it? Because I don't really hear very many good things about recruitment. And I'm like, it's a very good career. Like, you can earn a serious amount of money. You can progress faster than most industries. Like, I love it. And I'm helping people. I'm getting nurses paid way more than what they get in the NHS. They're like, oh, right, okay. And it's like this taboo thing, like, oh, you're a recruiter. And like, I'd go out, like, whenever I used to have ex-girlfriends when I was younger, oh, your boyfriend's a recruiter. Oh, God, not one of them. It's like, what? Maybe I'm biased. I just think, like, it's a wicked career to be in. It's like, it just seemed like it's deemed as, like, a bad career to some people that don't really know it.
But, again, I half get that, half don't. Because I don't sound like a massive prick here, if I'm allowed to say it. But, like, if people... I don't really have people say that to me anymore, because I think now, like, I can just be like, well, like, I'm pretty sweet. Like, I've got all the things I want. Like, I'm pretty comfy, and it's all like I come from a council estate, so every single thing I have is from this industry. Yeah. So I'm like, what you got to say about that? But then I do. It's just because it's so easy to get into. Like, there's wildly varying standards across. Like I can interview a recruitment consultant from company A and interview a consultant from company B. They can both do 250,000, 300k, but one can be exponentially better than the other, just because of how that company's culture's been, the way that they've been taught, the way they've been taught to deal with customers. It's literally like little things. Like, say I've hired people before where like a deal doesn't come in, and then their first response is, "Oh, fuck that client, fuck that candidate, fuck this, fuck that." If I'm allowed to swear, sorry.
You can, it's fine.
And then I think that's a complete wrong way, because I think, no, really, fuck you. Like, what have you done? Why has that happened? Like, not blame other people, not this. Like, why is that not? And you could have someone that still does 300, 400, 500k with that mindset, but then they're burning through clients. Like, they're not going to be doing well in that market in 10 years' time.
100%. And I'm sure you've also seen people that, I did 300k in a year, and then they join a business, and it's not a warm desk, it's a cold desk, and they just blank for 6 months, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this market shit," and it's like, well, you've built 300k.
I don't believe in all that market stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's a few people I know that bill like mental numbers. Like, I'm sure you know Interfax. They've got a few boys that bill 2-3 mil plus a year. Like, I'm telling you now, if you took a biller that bills like that and put them in any market, they're going to bill. Because it's the skill set that they have, not the, like, some markets fluctuate, and say we do civil engineering, if the US decided that in the next, in the next 5 years that they wanted to invest billions and billions and billions into public infrastructure because they wanted to reduce emissions, cool. We probably would do well off the back of that. Yeah. So there are things that can fluctuate in the market, but I do think fundamentally, if you took a good recruiter and put them into any market, they'd still bill.
Typically, yeah. The only reason why I mention that is I've seen people that they're terrible at BD.
Yeah.
Like they've just essentially been like, here are legacy clients, go and speak to them, and like all these legacy clients will say, here's some jobs, and they'll get 80, 90, 100% of those fees, and then you put them in a new market, they don't have the skill set for that. So when I've spoken to people on the pod, especially like founders and stuff, when they're looking to hire, if they're looking for 360s, they don't typically just look at the number of how much they've billed. It's actually, what have you done? And also, depending on your culture, because it sounds like from what you've said, you're very much a value-add, service-orientated recruitment business, not just transactional, get as many deals as possible, and if they don't, fuck them off type thing.
Well, don't get me wrong, we still like doing deals.
Of course, of course.
We don't like doing sales.
No, of course, but you get what I'm saying. Like, you have some recruiters that they might not necessarily do as many deals. Like, I've seen some recruiters that have done 180, 190 in a year, and everything has been net new, cold as fuck, a market that's been super untapped, and they've got that skill set.
But I'd rather that.
That's what I'm saying.
Than someone do 500,000 on 2 accounts that were given to them.
Precisely.
Because you could turn that, say 180, 190, is probably going to be split across like 4 or 5 clients. You could bring every single one of them to 200k easily next year. There's £1 million.
Yeah, 100%. So tell me a little bit about the retained offering, the RPO service, because a lot of people that listen to this podcast are interested in retained, but I think, to be honest, and maybe you've seen this with people that you've hired or just people generally in the recruitment industry, people, they do struggle with how the hell do you sell a retainer? How do you get a subscription service to a client? And also, by the way, is the sunlight in your eyes?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
But yeah, if you can, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so with the whole retain, so simply, if you're new to recruitment, it's a little bit easier. So say like when we hire grads or trainees, like we don't tell them about, like they don't know what the word contingent is. So from the get-go, like we just work retained, like that is how we work. Like if someone comes to us and they're like, say if a trainee comes to me and they're like, oh, I've won this new client, it's really good. Yeah, they said though that they only pay when we do it. Oh, so they want us to work for free. Are you going to work for free? No. All right. Well, we can't agree to that. Come in. No, cool. Then it's just like logical, like straight away. Like, oh yeah, why would I work for free? Like, but obviously, if you've done a lot of contingent, similar to like what I did before, like then you need to have a bit of a transition into how are you going to do that. So really, you want to figure out like what is the journey that you want to take your customer on. So say if your end goal is an RPO, and that shouldn't be maybe we do need to draw that a little bit stronger.
It is a bit blinding sometimes.
Yeah.
Hey guys, quick one before we jump back into the episode. If you are a recruiter who feels like half your week disappears into admin, follow-ups, data cleaning, and jumping between several different tools, then listen up, because this episode is officially sponsored by Sourcewell. Sourcewell is the recruitment productivity platform, and I don't just mean another tool that you'll forget to use. I mean the tool that actually gives you your time back. You can run your entire desk in one place. Outreach, sourcing, data enrichment, multi-step email and LinkedIn sequences, inbox management, and even call notes. It's all there, synced, automated, and according to their stats, recruiters using Sourcewell see 56% higher response rates, double the pipeline, and approximately save around 8 hours of admin every single week. If you're like me, admin as a recruiter is the devil, and this productivity platform really helps you save a load of time. So reach out to Sourcewell, go to sourcewell.com. It's a fantastic platform. I've used it myself. I really believe in it, and I'm super grateful for them sponsoring the podcast. Let's get back into the episode.
Yeah, if the end goal shouldn't be like RPO, because you should sell another one after, or a bigger one, or to more departments. So, but let's take that as the end goal. And then here is a cold prospect that you've never spoken with before. What is it that you need to do along that journey to get from this point to this point? So if I was beginning on a cold prospect, firstly, that I'm not selling anything at this point. Like I'm not selling anything at all, because how can I sell something when I don't know what the right thing for that prospect is? Like, you need to identify first of all whether your service is relevant for this person. You might think that they're the most amazing potential client in the world, and then you might call them and they might tell you, oh, actually we've just had to sell off half of our business, we're making no money, we're going bust. Like, what's the point of investing the time in that? From there, you then really want to be engaged in like key stakeholders. So for us, it's like CEO, like regional managers. I'm going to try and give like the industry-specific job titles, but I try and give like a generic job title. CEOs, regional managers, country managers, human resources, talent acquisition, procurement, like contracts, so everything gets signed off nicely. Accounting, so we get paid. Like these kind of people, project managers, get all of these engaged. But what we'll be trying to find out is like what are the goals of this business? Like, what are they trying to actually achieve? Not through recruiters as a whole. Like, do they want to increase their profit margin? Do they want to develop a new business in a new market? Do they need to do a restructuring because their senior management isn't efficient? Like, what is it that this business actually wants to achieve? From there, that is going to be then the driver across this whole customer journey, like these goals that the customer trying to achieve. FYI, you need to be on it quite a bit, because they can change quarterly. They can, like, just because a company said that they're going to do something 12 months ago doesn't mean they're going to be doing the same thing 12 months later. Then from there, it's really about creating the value in your service so that your service isn't viewed as a cost. Examples of a cost, if in recruitment, someone leaves a job, position needs to be filled. The company see that as a cost. That's a cost to replace that person, cost to bring someone in, cost to pay for the recruitment. You sell in a really good candidate that's relevant from, it's a good skill to have, but still that's a cost, because it might not be a position they have. Yes, you've created a position, but they're still there weighing up at the bottom line of it. Have we got enough budget to have this cost to bring this person in to develop this new business? Is this okay? Whereas what you really want to be positioning it as is your service is an investment to then reach these business goals that they want to achieve. Now, there's lots of things that we do for that, but I'm not going to give all of my secrets away. And then from there, that knowing this and knowing where they want to be is where you then position your service. So say competitor and then one of the Everhire consultants. Most of the competitors, I can't speak for all of them, some might be brilliant, and if they are, they should reach out to me and I'll hire them, and I'll pay you more money. But with the other competitors, I know most of the time they're just going in, pitching that we work retained. Why do we do retained? Here's 10 features of retained. We shortlist all the candidates. We interview them twice. We do this, we do that, we do that. Feature. Like, no one's going to buy that. And also as well, pitching that you do recruitment, I think it's kind of like doing what it says on the tin. Like, you should be doing that. Whereas our consultants will be going in pitching like, okay, these are your business objectives and what you want to do. Here's how our service can help you achieve them. And then it's almost like a no-brainer to work with us and to work retained. Some things you can do as well if you're struggling to get retained. If you've got contingent terms, just put them in a shredder. Like, get rid of them today. Like, you don't need them anymore.
Yeah.
But always sell retained. If they won't buy retained initially, look at what can you do about their business objectives and how you can help them achieve them.
Yeah.
If you can't help them achieve their business objectives, like, you probably need to think about the service that you're offering. Then shred the retained no, not the retained, keep them. Shred the contingent terms. Obviously, if they won't sign that off the bat, some things that we do is we put an addendum in the bottom that says the first recruitment will be no cure, no pay, but they're still signing the retained terms. Yeah. So, yeah, you do the first one contingent, but then everything after that's retained. That's quite a good way to go about it. You've got to back yourself. Sometimes with customers that have really and ahed, I've gone as far as said, look, pay me the retainer. If I don't fill this position for you, I'll pay that back.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Because when I speak to recruiters that have struggled to get buy-in, especially when you don't have the evidence that you've done it yourself, it's difficult to be confident in your service because you've never done it before, right? So I always said to people exactly that. Like, if you back yourself to get a shortlist of at least 4 to 5 good candidates in the next 2 weeks? 100%. Okay. If for whatever reason, maybe the brief is way too tight or way too open and you can't do that, just tell the client, like, I back myself, but if in 2 weeks the service that's been offered it has not been delivered and we're not getting you the right candidates, and the candidates you're providing, if they're not right, if they are according to the brief you've been given and they're still saying it's not right, it's kind of on them. Then you have to have a re-education talk. But if not, then just offer them money back.
Also, as well, sometimes it is important to understand like the customer's hesitations, because it's not always that they don't want to pay this fee. So, for example, we had, and this is a customer in the US that I knew had potential, and stuff wasn't working out with them, and it's an account that one of the consultants works on. And in the last 6 weeks, they've done over $100,000 with this account, with this methodology. Sold 4 retainers, 2 of them have been filled already, and then they've got another 2 left to go. But the blocker for the customer wasn't that they didn't want to pay the retainer. It's that they were a bit unsure with what work they had upcoming, whether that position might change slightly, and whether because they were winning they're like these big massive projects to build new like American football stadiums in America. Cool. But they're like, we might win it, we might not. Like, we're in the final thing. So if we win it, we will need this, guaranteed. If we don't, like, we won't. Fair. So then we uncover with the customer, okay, but you're a massive company, like, will you have other positions? Yes. So then the thing we agreed with them is they paid the retainer, and then if in 4 weeks they had a 4-week period where we would work on that job, but then if something changed, they then were allowed only once, not unlimited, but once to change that retainer to a different position. Yeah. And that isn't something I thought of before, but it's only uncovering with a customer, like, what's your blocker to this? Obviously, if they end up hiring from the first lot and the second lot, we're charging 2 fees anyway, so it's win-win. But it worked well and the customer valued it, and we've done over $100,000 for them in the last 6 weeks. So
that's power. Yeah, I think one of the things that you mentioned a lot earlier on that is a bit of a game changer, and I was kind of wrestling with this with like the most recent academies, where I think
it must be hard for you because I don't want to do sales anymore.
We'll talk about that in a second, because I know because when I saw you at Hisham's event, I was the only one to ask a question about like the whole sales thing, and again that drives me mental. But I was kind of wrestling with the idea of discussing how to pitch retainers on their 3rd week of the job, where realistically speaking, a trainee consultant might not necessarily be in a position to pitch and to negotiate terms that quick. So I had conflicting thoughts, right? And I'd be interested to hear your opinion on this. If I teach them the basics of negotiating terms, you've got like a bunch of tactics, the mirroring and labeling and the objection handling, great, because those are good life skills. If I then teach you how to do a comprehensive pitch on retainers, and because I'm external, I don't really know the ins and outs of their offering. Like, I've got some fucking handouts, but I don't know their business, right? do I do that so that it's imprinted that every single conversation they speak to a client, I'm retained? Part of me says yes. But at the same time, historically, a lot of trainees don't get to a position to then negotiate terms by themselves until, it depends, every business is different, but to a little bit later. So I said to these guys that I think we do the business development stuff, and I think what we focus on is the strategy, the tactics, and what you say on the initial calls and discovery calls. Let's do that, and then I can come back a little bit later once they've started to, because they're all adding their own contacts, getting their own leads, chasing their own leads. Once they've done that, once they've built up a bit of their market and got an understanding of their market, and they're starting to have discovery calls with companies, understanding, spotting gaps, then we go, right, now you're in that situation where you understand what customers look for, you know what a good candidate is, this is how to do a comprehensive pitch, this is how to sell retained. So it's kind of wrestling with like which way to put that, and I think for every business it's different, especially if that business isn't entirely just a retained function. But what's your opinion on that?
So I get asked quite a lot by people who listen to the podcast what I do and how I can help them. So just to give you a bit of an intro, I work with anything from trainee to founder and everything in between within the recruitment space, and offer coaching and training services. So if it's business development, mindset, confidence, if it's even the advanced thing like the NLP, hypnotic language patterns to help influence, get higher terms, setting RPOs, retainers, all those types of things. And everything I do around the coaching basis is very, very practical. It's not just theory. I work one-to-one with people. I work with large recruitment teams. A lot of what I do is on site. A lot of what I can do can be remote as well. I've worked with businesses all over the world since doing my own business. So if you are interested in getting 1% better and want to work with someone that can help you on that basis, and there's a clear ROI, I've worked with people that have 10x their ROI working with me in just 3 months. So if you are interested, all my details are in the description of this, and of course on LinkedIn. So drop us a message and let's work together.
2 points on that. One thing, I think everyone should be allowed to negotiate terms and try and, like, why not?
What's the worst thing that can happen, right?
Yeah, I just won't sign off on it. So, or their manager won't sign off it. If they come and they're like, I've negotiated a great set of terms for us here. It's 90-day payment terms, 15%, and we've got a year-long rebate. Obviously, they're going to have to go back to that customer and say, that's not getting signed off. Might sound harsh. They're going to learn very quickly, all right, I need to get this, I need to get X for it to be signed off. And also, as well, it creates a culture where, like, we have consultants that come to me or come to the managers or whatever with, like, excited about, like, I found this company, like, I've negotiated that we're going to do the first one contingent, and then after we're going to do all these ones retained. I've got 10 positions right now on this. It lines up with this, it lines up with that, and it gets them thinking in a commercial mindset so that they can do their own things. The second point I'd make on that, where you're saying, like, how should they pitch retained, or how should they do it? I think really you want to make it more of a formality. So I very rarely find myself with a customer going back and forth on percentages or the way we're working, or, to be fair, guarantees is one that does come up, but I never really have these, like, terms discussions. And the reason why is I invest most of my time in understanding that business, really understanding the position, setting the process. Like, our process is unbelievable. Having the customer agree to all of this, like, they see the benefit, we see the benefit, like, it's all there. And then the terms are just kind of a formality. And I never go in pitching, like, costs or anything like that. It's more our process, which is very in depth. Get the buy-in for that. Have them agree to all of this, and saying yes, 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 yes. Because during our qualifications and setting of our recruitment process, like, that customer's got to say yes to us about 20 times before we go say, okay, these are our terms and this is how we work. So I'd say the thing is to make it more of a formality rather than, so we work at 30%, is that okay? Like, it's just got to be a formality at the end. It's like, okay, you've agreed to this, we're going to do this, we're going to fill the position by this date, this is when you're getting the CVs, this is when the interviews are, here's all the testing and referencing we're going to do, X, Y, Z. Oh yeah, the fee for this is 25%, we charge 30% up front, it's 14-day payment terms. Can you send me your company reg and all this so I can get that put on the document? Yes, great, thank you, goodbye.
Simples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because I feel like Like I often think like, oh, like people must think, oh, but it's not that simple. But then I really think it is.
Yeah.
As long as you've got a great process, like your process needs to be unreal. Like it needs to be like smash out. You need to do that, and then you only need to get one customer to do it with you. Then boom, there's your case study.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's another thing I've learned in the last, well, this year actually, because last year when I first set my coaching business up, first time running a business, I'm freelance, whatever you want to call it, but I would get a LinkedIn recommendation to do fuck all with it. And I would have some consultants go, oh my God, Charles, sold my first retainer. I'm like, great, we'll do fuck all with it.
Yeah.
So then when you're trying to win new business, and it's like, I work a lot with senior consultants, you know, I was a retained like perm consultant for many years, and this is what I do, and they're like, cool. Now I'm like, can you go and speak to this customer and tell them what I've done for you and the achievements that I've done so that I can win that business? But something that you said there that jars me, and we were talking about like people not
Just
wanting
one
to
thing
sell.
on what you said there as well. That's a really good idea, and we've over the last 12 months started doing that as well. Where like when a customer's like a bit like unsure, and this could be a customer that's bought 10 things from us, so done 10 recruitments, whatever, and we're trying to sell an RPO. We will now go, okay, all right, cool, like. Who would you like to speak to? Like, what kind of references would you like? Like, what references would you want us to give you? Do you want someone at a very similar company to yours in the exact same position, doing the exact same thing? Do you want a really senior person? Do you want a business, an industry leader? Then we literally just set up for them to talk directly and say,
the best thing.
I'm not going to be there. Speak to them, do what you like, ask them what you think.
It's the best thing.
And then it works every time.
Yeah, it
But
works.
you obviously need to do a very good job with your customers.
Yeah, 100%.
For them to
You're
be
not going to
happy
give them someone that you've
references
not
for
done
you.
a good job
Yeah.
with, obviously. The last academy I won, it was one of 3, and just so happens I've gone into business with the other 2 trainers, right, which we've spoken about. And he was a little bit unsure about how short my training academy was. Because I don't believe in doing a rookie academy over like 12 weeks. I think it's a waste of fucking time, personally. And I will say that until the end of time. But I said, look, if you don't believe me and the process that I've run an academy and they fucking loved it. I'll put you in touch with Harrison. So I've just texted Harrison. I was in the hospital. Rosie was in labour at the time. And I was like, mate, here's the email of this guy. Can you just reach out to him and just tell him what we've done? I didn't say, like, say this, say that. I just said, tell him what the experience was like. So he's WhatsApped me. He said, I've emailed the client. I was like, do us a favour. Let me see what you've emailed. Bless him. He sent, like, fucking essay of every single week, what it was like, the achievements, how close this person is. This person's on the brink of doing a 360. He's helped outline the strategy. And the client called me literally as Rosie was a couple of hours into labour, saying, I've got good news, you're going to go through it. By the way, the old golden email, what a fucking touch that was. I read it and I was like, I can't not go with you now. That's fucking power, mate. So it does work. But something you said earlier that I wanted to pick up on, and I think this is a lot of value for people listening. When I first sold my first ever retainer, I did a similar type of thing to you, and because I did sales recruitment, I found it quite easy to understand that if this territory is unmanned and your competitors are like piranhas in the water, right, you're losing market share. And then figuring out how much market share are you losing? What's the percentage? What's that worth in revenue? What's that worth in profit? What's the time cost of you travelling from fucking Reading into, you know, Barts and St Thomas Hospital? What's the strain on the other reps that maybe have to go down there? What's the monetary cost of that? Your sales director's in Italy. She has to fly down. What's the cost of flights? Hotels to book interviews? How many no-shows? And then all of a sudden going, right, so just doing some rough calculations, since this role's been open, you have hemorrhaged, let's say, 150,000. Cool. So here's our process, talk through it, the video application, psychometric, and it's actually going to save you about 120 grand just for this position. They're like, sorry, how does that work? Well, it's only 30% of base salary. And because your salary is 50K, it's this. So technically you're going to save this amount of money. So it's not cost, it's the investment and the saving of money, the saving of time. And just imagine, we get this role filled in record time. What does your sales director say? The sales director's been from Milan to London 3 times to interview. People have no-show, people have been terrible. She's probably giving you a hard time. Now she's going to come down and interview only the best candidates. She can see the video applications prior to that, saving a load of time, saving a load of money. Then she goes to the MD in Europe and the CEO in America and says, actually, since onboarding this recruitment company, we've saved 6 figures. It's it's just a no-brainer. And then the client looks at you and goes, yeah, that does sound like a lot of money saved. And I had people watching me do the pitch because I was like the BD guy, right? Who were like, how the fuck has he got 30%? What? But in my mind, I'm thinking...
And Aerotyne International, yeah?
Huh?
Aerotyne International.
Who's Aerotyne International?
Oh, you know that famous Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, right,
pitch
yeah,
where they're
yeah,
like, how the fuck did you just do that?
Yeah. It was like that, but
Yeah.
again, I think it stems from, and who was it? It was Dana White that was talking on Trigonometry about this recently. They were asking, what advice have you got for someone trying to set up a business? And I'm sat there thinking, I'm setting up what I would call as a real business. What I do now, yes, with business, but I'm fucking freelance at the end of the day. And he was like, if you really believe in what you're selling, like genuinely believe that it will make a difference, and you work hard, there's never been an easier time to set up a business, which a lot of people in our sort of generation and generation below us probably think, oh, it's so fucking hard, And he went, the world is surrounded by pussies now. People don't take action, right? People don't want to work hard.
Yeah,
In recruitment, a lot of people don't fucking sell, right? But if you don't believe in it, like if you don't believe in your RPO, your process, your retained search, if you don't believe in that, and you go, yeah, so it is 30%, but we can be negotiable on that. Of course, they're going to fucking negotiate you down. But if you outlie it, then of course.
I think one thing as well, like with where you're saying like believe in process and stuff as well, it's like that is hard as well because you've got to keep that standard internally as well. And there'll be times like I'm so adamant on our process to fill jobs because it works, and like when it's done, it works. And you do have this, and it can be a bit awkward, but I'll pull up like senior consultants. Because part of our process is like advertise on the website. The first thing that people always skip over is putting an ad on the website. Because in our line of work, out of every 500 applicants, one will be right. So I do understand it. But what they don't see, why is it important? Because when customers go onto our webpage, they want to see lots of live vacancies within the same industry that they work within. When we're hiring people, they don't want to be looking at a website with 5 live jobs. They want to see all of the live jobs we've got. So it is still important, but there will be times that I will pull up a senior consultant because they haven't done a job ad and will sit there with them and make sure that they write that ad. So you have got to keep the same standards internally as well, so that you do believe in what it is that you're doing.
Mate, I've been pulled up before because I was the exact same. I think most good salespeople are like that, where what's the point in doing an ad? When was the last time I've done a deal off of an ad? And I spoke to a guy on the podcast last night about another thing I'll mention in a second. 2 things I would never really do. First instance, check the database. I'd usually start with a LinkedIn project, and I would never advertise.
Everyone does that.
Everyone does it. It's a silly habit, right? And I get it. And then when my sales director, Liam, sat me down and was like, pull up your shortlist on Bullhorn. And I was like, oh yeah, I've not added anyone to the shortlist yet. And he's like, have you spoken to this candidate, that candidate, this candidate? And I went, let me have a look. And why are you looking at your projects on LinkedIn for? I was like, oh, because they're probably in the project. And he went, they're on the fucking system. Have you not done a Boolean on the system yet? And I'm like, no. And he went, okay, cool. So I'm going to dock your commission unless you add that person to shortlist right now. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And I'm like, did a quick Boolean, saw like 5 people that came up. I was like, oh my God, they're great. He's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? He's like, right, where's your advert? And I'm like, I haven't put an advert up yet because every advert I put up, I rarely get anyone good. They're not English nationals. They're terrible. Anyway, put an advert up. Fucking one of the first people that applied to the job was outrageously good. And I was like, oh my God, called them. As soon as I put the deal through, Liam turns around and goes, oh, how'd you find that candidate? I went, he applied to the job on LinkedIn. He went, so ads do work. I was like, fuck. But sometimes I think you need to go through that. Slight tiny bit of humiliation and just like that public, like, come on, mate, like you have to do that. But also to your point, because you look at it differently as a founder now, when you're a senior consultant or a recruiter or whatever, you don't think about the bigger picture. You don't think about clients looking at the website. So it's your job as a founder to make sure that's embedded in the culture, right?
Yeah, it's tough because I always say, like, look, I don't keep. It's in my interest for you to do really well,
Yeah.
Like you're at Everhire, like I want you to succeed. Like I don't keep these 5 secret things that I do that I'm not telling you up my sleeve so that I do well myself and you don't. Like I literally have documented, and it's all on our lovely internet, like every single thing that I would do. And when I work a job, I do exactly that, and it generates the results. So, but it can, anyone that's doing well. Someone that's a trainee normally does it to a T, because they don't know what to do, so they follow it step by step. Oh, this is what I need to do. But then when you do have seniors that are like, oh yeah, but I did 50k, 60k last month, and this is how I did it. I'm going to do that. I'm like, okay. And then there is that balance because, like you say now, that I'm trying to create something of value.
Yeah.
That I want a sellable asset also, on that note, for anyone listening, Everhire is set up so that when we sell, 49% of the company will be owned by employees. I'll only own 51%. So everyone else is going to do pretty well off this as well. But like, my interest is in building something that is repeatable across multiple countries and different locations, different offices. It has a value, like doesn't just rely on LinkedIn that you need to pay hundreds of thousands of pounds for a year, which is the biggest rip-off in the world. And also kind of comes into a bit as well, and this is slightly off topic but slightly on topic, where I feel having like this process and correct way of working is important in individual, because then they can then teach other people to be doing that as well. But I have no interest in people not following our stuff, because then they might just be doing just delivery. But for example, I think delivery is going to go out the window soon, because like however quick you can find the CVs, that AI is going to do it quicker. However quick you can do the emails, that AI is going to do it quicker. And that, so what is going to be the skill is, one, having good process, which will probably involve a lot of AI. But then also comes back to what we just said, where it's like these human relationships where you can actually understand the business and sell a solution that is beneficial to that company. Yeah,
100%. I spoke to a guy yesterday, and he was saying that he went to an AI like in recruitment event, and he's building he's building his own bots to do the resourcing, and his whole business is set up as 180. So he's got delivery, research, and business development, and he was echoing a similar sentiment to yourself, where if the AI can just pass over a bunch of CVs, and maybe one day you'll have a sales agent that will try and book the calls with the recruiter and stuff, he said that's great. But he said until an AI bot can sit there and say, yeah, my kid kept me up last night as well, or yeah, my dog had the runs the other night as well, like, and actually get on a level with someone, he was like, those are the skin. He was even saying to me, is like, for what I do in the coaching piece, he was like, that's the part you need to focus on, is that when a human gets another human on the phone, how do they maximize the relationship building? How do they maximize the strategic information to gather out that? Because AI can go and I could whack your name into ChatGPT Pro right now and say, scrape his website, scrape his LinkedIn, and create me an amazing email or an email sequence. And it will do that, and it will create a pitch. But if you then got a call from my AI agent that had all this research and stuff, versus me saying, how's your little staffy getting on?
Yeah, but I almost think it's brilliant, really, for two reasons. One, I think earlier we said, don't like not having a barrier to entry. This is going to create a barrier to entry, because one, you need to be better than what you can get on an AI, or you're out the job. Because like, why on earth would I pay someone 50, 60,000, 70, whatever a year, when I could pay an AI 300 quid a month and it can perform better? Like, that's just logic from business. Like, businesses need to make money. But then I see it as brilliant, and we're actively getting as much, not just willy-nilly everything possible, because then it's like everyone's just wasting their whole time trying to learn how to use every system. But we're using AI to automate as much stuff, not automation, so automation is different, but as much AI as we can to do as much stuff for we as we can. So that now the only thing we should be doing is being on the phone. Yeah. So that's where I've even more, like, where people are like, don't like calling, don't like doing this, don't like doing that. Like, that's what the job, I think, in 5 years, 10 years, that's the only thing that it's going to be. It's going to go back to like where I was still kicking a ball in the school playground then, but everyone talks about like the 80s and 90s about it being fun. Yeah. I think it will as well, because when the AI is doing every single thing other than speaking on the phone with people, and there are AIs I know that call and stuff, but people clock it, they'll probably get better and they will start not to. Like, you've got to be on the phone now, because if your strategy is emails, if your strategy is emails, if your strategy, cool, it can be part of your strategy, but you should not be doing that. Like, you don't need to do that. That's a waste of time. Like, the only thing now that should be being done is being on the phone. So
mate, that was the worst part of my job. The thing I loved the most was getting in front of someone like this, understanding their needs, their pains, their worries, and everything about them as a person and their business, to then solve their problems And then as soon as I'd sold the retainer, that's the peak of the dopamine. And then I'm like, oh, fuck, now I've got to do a search. Fuck. So I hired a delivery, well, he wasn't delivery, he was 360, but he basically resourced for me, right? And we were like the best duo of all time. I would pull a retained search, he would get people. His candidate control was, I've never seen anything better. It was amazing. The worst parts of my job were the admin, the in-mailing clients,
formatting CVs,
emails, formatting
writing
CVs,
job ads,
doing
all this,
booleans, all that type of shit. I hated. Whenever my boss would sit there and say, I've just got a list of these businesses from Zoom Info or something,
give me
blah,
that
blah,
now.
blah. Give me the list, and I would just sit there, make dials, send my LinkedIn connection requests, book meetings. If I could just be, like, if I could come in every day to a list of booked calls and discovery meetings on Zoom or whatever, or face-to-face meetings as a recruiter, I'm the happiest guy in the world. Any recruiter or business owner listening to this that has people, or you are the person that is just not really, you'd rather just be sat there in front of LinkedIn, just messaging people and stuff. What?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Like,
just on this, I don't know if you ever see it, because this is the thing that like makes me want to punch a hole in the computer screen. But do you ever have it where people have a list, and then I don't know if this is like too old fashioned, because I'm not even that old yet, but this is how I've always done it. I called a list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 answers. Cool, right. 8 is answered. 9, 10, 11. Cool. Then I'll start again. Go for it until I spend.
yeah.
But I don't know if you see this yet. I don't know where this has come from now. I don't know if it's because people are just numbing their brains all the time, like swiping about everywhere. But now they just go 1, 7, 11, 25, 17, 4, done the list. And do you see that in the training?
I've seen that. I've seen people do that.
And then they're like, oh, this candidate's not right, or whatever. I'm like, how do you know?
Oh, because they had a contract role, their last role? It's like, right, okay.
Or like they're working at the wrong kind of company. I'm like, okay, but like, that's just what LinkedIn says, yeah? Like, you don't know. Like, what about the 5 companies before that are all right? Like, why are you not speaking to
Also, if they're
people?
not right for your one position, what else can they give you?
Yeah.
What else can you get for them? Like, it's sometimes people, I use the analogy that people work with the blinkers on. Like, they will qualify a candidate, and I remember a business I worked with that had a 180 function, right? And I was like doing some on-desk coaching with people, and I heard someone have a wicked call with a candidate, and I just got up and I was like, oh, how many leads did you get from that call? It's like, oh, he's not really interviewing anywhere else, da-da-da. Why is he looking to leave his current job? Oh, you know, this, that, and the other. I was like, okay, cool. He's got 5 other jobs he's worked at. What's the crack with them? Oh, I didn't really talk about that because they're not as relevant to this. And I'm like, but it's in your industry, right? Yeah, okay. So those businesses there, they on the system. Oh, I didn't check. Right, okay, so you didn't check. So you've spoken to this candidate, he's not right for this one role. What can your salesperson do with that candidate? Oh, I didn't really think, because they're not right for this job. I'm like, okay, you're not a resourcer for company A, you're a delivery consultant in this business, and a delivery consultant in theory should, if the candidate's not right, there's so much information from that candidate. What are you doing with that? And they're like, oh yeah, to be fair, yeah, I didn't, yeah, all right. Call them back. Oh, that's a bit embarrassing. No, it's not. You sounded like a great call. Just call them back.
People hate that one.
Why not? Like, and also if you call them back and they go, sorry, like we just spoke for half an hour, I've got to take my kid to fucking whatever. Like, cool. Can I just? I've got a few more things I just want to run through with you. Are you free at 4? Like, why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't get that. I don't know whether it is because I hear a lot of people use the whole, oh, it's a generational thing. Well, how old are you?
28.
28. So you're similar rate. I'm turning 32 next month. When I got into recruitment in 2014. We didn't use LinkedIn because it's nursing. Nurses aren't really on LinkedIn, but I set up a LinkedIn profile and you'd occasionally scroll and it was dead back then. It was so boring. It was just, I'm hiring for this job, and that was literally it. But mate, all it was millennial slander. Like people nowadays, like, oh, like us Gen Zs, da, da, da. Mate, when I got into recruitment, millennials were also called lazy. All they want to do is take selfies. It's pathetic, da, 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 da. Every fucking generation does that. They just slander the generation underneath them or 2 generations underneath them.
But the only thing I'd say with that, which I do think is a big differentiator now, is we've never had, and this is a completely different topic, but I'm very passionate on this. And yes, I do have an Instagram account, but you can look at my phone. I don't have the apps. Like, someone else does it. Like, I even the other day got rid of YouTube because that seems to be like a similar kind of thing now. I don't think there's ever been, no one has ever, maybe apart from smoking, I don't know if that gives you dopamine, but no one's ever had such a constant, like, bang, 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 need to feel good, need to feel good, need to feel good. So, and I think the thing that I've been trying to do for aging, encourage everyone else to do. So you've got to like retrain your brain to get reward from doing the things that aren't instantly like satisfying, like scrolling on Instagram or playing an Xbox or all of these things that we've got now, like all the time. I think that is why I think there's a problem. And I don't slate and yes, I do see a lot of people saying, oh yeah, what generation is it now? Gen Z,
yeah.
They're lazy, they're whatever, they're this. I think, no, they're the same as everyone else. It's just our job as a leader, my job as a leader, to say, like, look, that's cool, yeah, but that's not going to get you anywhere. Like, don't worry about that. Like, you need to invest in yourself and be comfortable learning something, sitting there for 2 hours and doing some work. And the less you do that and the more you do this, the sooner you'll start to feel the same, like, rush and buzz off it.
Yeah.
Then they're not, like... For example, I've got one consultant that was you smoke loads, like didn't bill all that much, like doing all that. Then we got him off that. He started running, did a marathon, blah blah blah. Now he's billing. He's one that actually brought that RPO opportunity.
Oh really?
So it does work.
Yeah. That instant gratification thing is a killer. Like people avoid discomfort.
And then that's a big problem in sales now, though, because like this to me. I know in my brain it's so like what, but I understand why the other people don't think the same way as me.
Yeah.
Like they'll come off a sales call, people, and they'll be like, oh, he said no, he's not interested, so I'm going to call him back again in 6 months. And in my brain, it's like obviously, like I don't ring people up. And then they pick up and they go, oh my God, it's the great Nick Thomas. Like, I've been waiting for this call all my life. Yeah, cannot wait to give you my business. They tell me no. Of course they do. They tell everyone no. But then it's like, cool, right, again. No. And where people want this instant gratification, they don't like the, oh, okay, that I didn't actually get what I wanted. They didn't say yes. They didn't give me anything. They didn't give me a job. They didn't give me any money, blah, blah, blah. But you've got to keep going. Go.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, one of the key reasons, right, is 20 years ago, before Uber, Just Eat, like Netflix, all these types of things, right? If I wanted to go and watch a movie, I'd go with my parents to Blockbuster, drive to the place, look through the DVDs and take one home. You'd have to drive to the fish and chip shop to go and get your takeaway, right? Or, go Tesco's and make your own food. If you wanted to go somewhere and you didn't drive, you had to beg your parents or your friends to give you a lift, or, you'd have to call a taxi firm. Like, I remember when we used to go clubbing, we'd have to call a taxi firm to like book it,
one,
right?
Yeah.
Nowadays, I could, if you were just with me for the rest of the day and we were like, I'm hungry, I can go on an app, order food. You go, oh, my car's broke down, I need to go back home. You can order an Uber.
Yeah.
Everything you do nowadays.
I probably would cry.
But you see what I'm saying? Car. You don't need to speak to a soul anymore, and everything that you want, like, oh, the dog's toy's fucked, I need to buy a new one, Amazon, done, it comes today.
Yeah.
Everything is immediate. Like, I need dopamine, I just scroll Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Everything.
And I can't say I'm a saint on this, because I do the same things. One thing I've been doing now, though, which is good, I think, I'll confirm in 12 months' time, but I've been doing it now for a couple of months, is I was getting so sick of the phone. Yeah. I was like, fuck this, I'm going to get a Motorola Razr. But then I realised quite quickly, hold on a minute, actually, all of my access keys are on my phone. Yeah. Like I'm a UK national, so it's really complex for me to have Swedish bank accounts. All of my authentications. Yeah. Should I be saying this? Is someone going to like steal all that stuff? But basically, long story short, without my phone, the business wouldn't work.
Yes.
Yeah. Like I can't function without it now. They've got me. Yeah. The bloody lizard people have got me. Yeah. So I can't function without the phone. So I was like, right, I'm not going to get the Motorola Razr. But one thing I do now, Saturday and Sunday, and I recommend do this. Like, so you actually do find you have a lot more time, and you also do think like, what do I do now? I've got an office at home. If I'm working on the weekend, then I have the phone. Yeah. If not, the whole weekend I leave the phone on my desk, don't use it.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's quite nice.
Yeah, I've done this before.
And you feel a bit lonely at first, though.
Yeah.
But then like if I want to see my mum, like my mum will come and knock on my door, be like, let me in.
Yeah.
Like,
It's a good. Do you know what, mate? Like, because you said about like training your mind and stuff, like to get away from that type of stuff. It is like, and that's actually because I normally when I have guests on that say things, I always try and experiment with these types of things. Because I've done. Have you ever done like a dopamine detox before, like an extended one?
no.
So I'd done one a few years ago when I was the L&D manager. I deleted all the apps on my phone. I paused YouTube. I paused Spotify. And for the whole week, I didn't watch TV. I didn't play video games. I didn't scroll social media. I didn't listen to podcasts. I didn't listen to music, right? And I'll never forget, I was on the train and I just think, fucking hell, like, I don't realise the noises.
Do
Like,
you know the maddest one on the train though? Yeah, I refuse to go on my phone on the train. Yeah, just out of this principle. Yeah, next time you're on the tube, I don't know what the other trains are like because I only ever really go on the Central line. It's obviously you can see all the way down the carriage.
Yeah.
It's like just look to your left,
Yeah.
look to your right. Every single person is there like this. Yeah. And I just, and this is obviously like a bit of a mad, but I'm not getting brainwashed like that. I'm not having that. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, it's
so
an
then
escape,
I'll
isn't
either
it?
stare at the like person in front of me, or I will read the newspaper.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, it was that. If you see
Yeah,
pictures
yeah,
from
yeah.
like the 70s, 80s,
Yeah.
everyone was just head in a newspaper. Now it's obviously you've got everything on your phone.
Yeah.
But I did that for 7 days, and by the 5th and 6th day, when it was the weekend, my missus was like, can we just watch a fucking movie or something? Because we would literally get to like 7 o'clock at night, get home from work, and I've not listened to music all day. I've been on the train, and I'm like, my awareness has suddenly just expanded. Like during my lunch break, I'd go for a walk. Normally, I'd listen to a podcast. During my lunch, usually I'd watch a little YouTube video, and I'm like, fucking hell, it's like all of a sudden you've got so much time. And in the evening, normally we'd watch some TV, Rosie would go to bed, I'll play a couple of games of PlayStation, and then I go to bed. And then it gets to like 8 p.m. and I'm like, the fuck do I do now?
Yeah.
Like, I might as well just make like a bougie dinner so it takes longer because I've got all this spare time.
Yeah.
I'll try and read a book, and then you go to sleep, and then naturally your sleep is going to be massively improved because you've had no external stimuli. And I thought like it was a really good experiment, but the next time I did it, I was like, I'm going to introduce music. So when I was like going for walks and stuff, I listened to some
don't think
music
there's
and stuff.
anything wrong with music.
I don't think so.
I
think that was a bit
I've got
extreme.
a degree in music.
Have
so
you?
I can't.
Yeah. I think with, and also podcasts as well. Like for me, I'm anything I do in the house, I'm listening to personal development or comedy podcasts. Like sometimes maybe it's a little bit of a dissociation thing. You listen to your favorite podcaster chat shit about fucking the lizard people or MMA or whatever. And sometimes I do notice myself dissociating and not being present in the moment. And I'm like cooking, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, what have I just done? It's been half an hour. I don't even remember what I've done. It's like I'm in autopilot.
Yeah.
So there's sometimes you have to like click yourself out of that and go, okay, because there is power of just being present. And I know it sounds like really woo-woo, but like you might notice this from the things that you've done. Like if you're not present on a sales call and you're not picking up key sales signals and little things
but it
like...
comes into that as well. You're just distracted all the time.
All the time.
Like, and I admit, I found myself doing this. Like, I'd be on and this, like, I want to literally punch myself in the face if I ever start doing this. But I just do it without thinking. I just start scrolling through my emails, start looking at LinkedIn, start doing like, looking at my stocks and shares, like, and I'll be like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, you stupid idiot. Like, stand up, listen to this, motion, get a bit of emotion, create some emotion, like, focus on this.
Yeah.
And then, because it does kind of slip into everything.
Yeah.
This is very off topic, but where you're saying like you appreciate the little things, like I do think like I still want to be able to like, you know, just walk about and like look at a tree and be like, that's a beautiful tree, that is lovely. Like be in the forest and be like, oh, it's lovely in the forest at the minute. Like I want to still be able to appreciate them things
100%.
as well. But yeah, it does come into work as well.
Well, I remember you probably can't see, but that picture up there is from COVID, and it's the first time I ever took she was my girlfriend then. She lived at home with my mum and my brother during the pandemic. She'd never ran a kilometre in her life, and I used to run somewhat regularly. And in Potters Bar, it's very hilly, and I took her for a 5k for her
Where's
first.
Potters Bar, near Hertfordshire?
It's in Hertfordshire. It's like just south Hertfordshire next to Barnet. And where I used to go on my running route, there was a huge hill by the Tesco's, and you go down to the leisure centre and you come back up. And I used to sprint uphill and then jog back downhill, and I used to get like quite good 5k times. She's never run before. right? So I'm taking her for this run, and like literally 5 minutes into it, she's bright red, fucking dying, and I'm like, just breathe and blah 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 blah. She was psychologically scarred from that because she passed out when she got home, and that picture up there is her literally passed out on the floor. My mum bollocked me for it, but her parents thought it was hilarious. So anyway, but the reason why I'm saying this story is that bless her, she decided to actually come back out on a run with me again, and I said, look, you don't need to keep up with me. I'll go to your pace, and if you need to stop, we'll stop. But something I did was exactly that, because we didn't have headphones and it was just her and I, and we're just, breathing, running. And I said, I want you to just focus on something very vibrant and just focus on that. And then once you get past it, focus on the next thing. And what that'll do is it'll distract you from the fact that you're dying, because you're not going to die. You're not running hard enough to die. You're not that unhealthy. Yeah, you're not. The thing is, she's not that unhealthy. She's not morbidly obese. She's not going to have a heart attack. It's the panic because she's never done that before. So we ran around this park where I used to live, where my mum used to live, and there'd be these like bright pink bushes. And when she would like stop, I was like, touch the bush, smell the bush, look at the bush, feel the bush. All 5 senses. Don't taste it. Obviously, it's a bit weird, but 4 senses, right? For now. Just take them in. What's the most vibrant smell? What's the most subtle smell? And for the rest of your senses, do that. And breathe whilst you're doing that. And then she'll breathe, and I'm like, you feeling good? She's like, I feel a lot better. Cool, let's go. Run. Next time she's like, fuck. I'm like, look at the duck. What's the most vibrant thing you see of the duck? The orange beak, this, that, and the other. And just doing that technique in itself, and this is great advice for recruiters as well, because there are times.
I haven't heard of that one before.
The technique is called Come to Your Senses. I read a book, I can't remember what it's called, but it's by a lady called Emily Fletcher, and she's like a mindfulness expert. And I think she was like on Broadway. She was like a performer, and she had mad anxiety. She got grey hair, her hair started to fall out, and then she went to like India or wherever to learn mindfulness. And her technique was basically your 5 senses. What's the most vibrant thing you can see? What's the most subtle thing you can see? And by each thing you're doing, you're taking a breath in, holding, and then a slow exhale. And once you get to your 5th sense and you do that, then basically you collate all 5 senses. So what's the most like vibrant sight, smell, taste, feel thing you can hear, and then take that all in, and with that breath expand it so it's all becomes super vivid. Close your eyes, and now you're completely in the moment. All 5 senses are all aligned. So whenever you're feeling like mad anxious or stressed or whatever, and again, that technique, you can literally do that in 5 minutes, not even that. I did that with recruiters on desk, and just go like quick fire, 5-second inhale, hold, exhale. What do you see? What do you smell? What do you taste? What do you feel? What do you smell? And then bang, you're in the moment. And that technique in itself, and we spoke about some other things prior to that, when you're in those states, that also works big time. Power.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that one.
I was properly into my, I need to do it more. I was planning, my wife stayed at my in-laws' house last night. She wanted to have a little bit of break, so her parents helped with the baby. And I got to sleep with no baby waking me up in a double bed by myself. It was the best thing ever. But to your point,
I haven't got any kids yet. So.
You won't. It's great. Like people bullshit and say, "Oh my god, you're like," it's the best thing in the world. It's just exhausting. But I spoke to a guy yesterday, and he's got ADHD like me, and he said that he's setting up an AI business as we speak, and he was saying that he beats himself up because it'll get to like 11 and he needs to be asleep by 11. He's like, I'll watch one more video. I'll scroll for 5 more minutes.
How do you find out you've got ADHD? Because everyone tells me that I've got that.
Most recruitment founders do.
Yeah, no. My girlfriend, a lot of my staff.
Yeah.
All my ex-girlfriends, like.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends. How did you find that out?
I knew from when I was young, because my mum's got it, my brother's got it. My brother he's got Asperger's as well. He's a very high-functioning autistic. My mum as well, high-functioning autistic. And they both got diagnosed, and I refused, because back when I was in school, it was naughty child syndrome. So I didn't want to get labelled. And then when I moved from sales to L&D, the first day of my job, they put a massive stack of papers, this is all our training documentation from our firm, our ex-firm, and a firm that went bust.
Think, oh my God, how am I going to do this?
I looked at him and I was like, right. And he went, cool, go and read that. And then you've got to redesign our whole academy. And I nearly had a fucking panic attack, because my concentration levels at the best of times are not great. So I was like, fuck, I need to sort this out. So I called the NHS up and said, I need to go for an ADHD diagnosis. Spoke to a mental health nurse, and she just went for a questionnaire with me. And I was like, be honest, like, I think I've got it. I've done like 3 online assessments, and they said I'm 99%. And she was like, I can't say whether you do or you don't, but if you don't, I'll eat my hat. And I was like, right, okay. And then the next step is you got to go and sit down with not a psychologist, it's like a something else, something along those lines, psychologist type thing. And either you have to have a parent or all your school reports. Obviously, I don't have any school reports. Like, why would I keep them? So I sat down with my mum, and the entire time he was asking questions about like my childhood and like what was he like in school and blah blah blah. And you can see him going like that, writing down. And I think there's 3 parts of ADHD. So you've got hyperactivity, which is both physical and mental. So you've got some people that are really physically chill, but their mind is super active. I'm both. My mind is 1,000 miles an hour, and I do physical. I shadow box 24/7. I'm mental, right? You've got impulsivity. So I've now created strategies to stop me from buying things on impulse. Like I'd go on Amazon and be like, "Oh, that looks cool."
Christ, I'm bad for that.
Yeah. So it's a massive
but
ADHD
I impulse
thing.
buy like really expensive things.
Yeah, I used to as well. Yeah, I used to as well. It's terrible. I'd go to Hugo Boss and go like, I don't need another white T-shirt. It's 80 quid. I'll buy it.
Yeah.
Don't need to do that, right? So there's that, and then there's another one. I'm going to forget it now. Inattentiveness. So inattentiveness is where you are just not necessarily super aware. You're just a bit distracted. You're sat there like, that's a cool plant. Sorry, what were we talking about?
Yeah.
Or someone's talking and then you're going like, oh, you were going to say that. It's like, I haven't finished what I'm going to say yet. So you're just not attentive. So you can be 1 of 3, 2 of 3, or 3 of 3. I'm literally all 3 of them.
Yeah. Is it important to know though?
I think so. Yeah. Because for me, I used to lose things all the time. I used to piss people off because I would finish their sentences because my brain knows what you're going to say, so I just finish it. I would be super hyperactive in the office to the point where I'd be throwing high kicks over people's chairs and be like, bet you I can kick you in the face without actually kicking you, and be like, what are you doing? But in my mind, I'm just like, I'm a bit childish, I'm a little bit silly. I don't realise that affects people, and I didn't realise that's a trait. So as soon as I learned these types of things, I was like, oh, this is how it impacts work. This is how it impacts other people. This is how, and also there's other things as well. Like I'm very, like, I would say I'm quite a sensitive person. One of the things that I noticed, we played this really boring board game and it was too slow and my mate was taking forever to make a move. So I was just like playing with like the little blocks and everyone was just like taking the mick, like, oh, you can't fucking sit down for 5 minutes. Well, are you a fucking child? Da, 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 da. A normal person would be like, oh, it's just banter. I just sat there, my bottom lip started to go, and I'm just like, you guys don't understand. Like, by the time you're thinking about it, I'm like, I know exactly what the next 5 steps are. This seems like I've been here for hours. We've only been down here for 10 minutes. So everyone's bantering me about this, and they went, and my missus was like, you're right. And I started crying. I was like, no one gets it. No one understands what it's like for me. They're just taking the piss. They don't understand. Because I didn't tell them why I was upset. They just thought, he's just being a fucking gimp, right? And I told them, and I was like, you don't understand. In my brain, that felt like an age. For you, it was only 5 minutes. But you just don't understand. So as soon as I actually went through the diagnosis and started researching it and how I can be better for my wife, be better for my friends, better for my family, and also better for myself. Like, there are times where I unnecessarily beat myself up, not realising that, yeah, you are a little bit more sensitive. Or, yeah, sometimes you can't sit down. Like, doing a podcast sat here on the sofa, normally I fidget quite a lot, and I'm medicated now, so it does help. Before, I couldn't sit down. Like, every online podcast, training session and video call, I have to stand up. I can't sit down. Can you imagine what I was like as a recruiter? Sitting on I'd never sit down.
I've got one member of staff actually that's got ADHD, but I only found out recently.
Of the official diagnosis?
Yeah.
Are they on the waiting list for medication?
No, they've got it now, yeah.
It's long now, though. So many people since the pandemic.
I think they pay for it. Like,
yeah. Well, are they going to go private?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, if you go private like that, it's way more expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was very fortunate that as soon as I got my diagnosis, and this is where it's a little bit annoying because I didn't want to take medication. My mum was super anti-medication growing up. Healthy diet, cod liver oil, exercise, all the rest of it. They said to me, like, oh, we'll just put you on CBT. We'll give you, like, therapy. And then when I got the diagnosis, they're like, we're going to book you in for a physical and then set you up with medication. I was like, I thought you were going to give me therapy. And they were like, well, you're not suicidal. You've got a good job. You own your own house. Like, you're fine. We'll just put you on meds. So I was like, really? So you're not going to, like, help me work through what this is? You're just going to fucking medicate me? And they were like, yeah. So they put me on the lowest possible adult dose. Took it. The first day I ever took it, I was like, right, okay, let's just do some work. Done like a week's worth of work in like 3 hours. And I was like, this is weird. And I was like, nothing, it doesn't feel different. I just feel like my brain is just a little bit quieter. It's crazy. And then literally after about a month, they sat me down and was like, right, okay, so how are we finding the dose? I was like, yeah, it's really good. Yeah, like I feel like totally different. They're like, okay, cool. So should we put you on the 32 mils? I'm like, no. Like, why are you going to up my dose for? I'm doing all right. And it was like, oh, normally people, like, this is the lowest dose. It doesn't really touch the sides. I was like, but I don't feel like I need drugs to, like, I just need something to assist me. Because at the minute, it's like climbing a mountain. Well, not right now, but back then it was like climbing a mountain with a fucking super heavy backpack. And then taking the medication is like halving the weight.
Taking a bit of the weight out. Yeah.
I don't want it I don't want it to take over, because I see some people that are so like on the most heavy dose and they're wired, looking at you like that, like, and you're like, oh my God. For me, I just need that little extra, so if I have to go and do my fucking receipts upstairs.
Does it make you wired?
Oh, it can, yeah. Like I told this last Friday, the episode I did with Roxanne, that I experimented with trying it before breakfast, and I just felt really anxious all day, and I just felt really wired and a bit weird. And I've done it when I've been hungover. That was not a good thing. It's an amphetamine. It's speed. So if anyone has
That's
ever...
funny though, isn't it? Well, you give people with ADHD something to speed them up, to slow them down.
Yeah. So the way that the ADHD brain works, and again, I'm not a fucking scientist.
Is it an amphetamine?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. So people with ADHD, if you give them a substance like an amphetamine, like speed, or like cocaine, and anything that would normally make people fucking like that, ADHD brains, their dopamine is regulated, because our brains, like the ADHD brains, can't regulate the dopamine. So if you've got to go and do a really boring, say you're putting off a task that's like really fucking boring, and it takes so much energy for you to just start this fucking task, you're like, I can't, it's not enjoyable. It takes forever to do that. When you're on the medication, that block, that first step is just like that. So if you're climbing climbing up someone's stairs, and remember the stairs in Amsterdam, they're fucking huge, right? Without the medication, it's like, oh my God, this step is so big, and I have to fucking climb the step. You take the medication, it's like there's a little bit of dopamine it's giving you, and you go, there you go, I take that step, and then you can carry on and start.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah, so that's why I hated sourcing, because if I was medicated, my old boss said, mate, if you had your ADHD diagnosis and were on the medication, you'd have probably tripled your billings. Yeah. Because I would sit there and just
you're
fucking...
half worrying me, like saying all these things, I think, bloody hell, I relate to that.
Yeah. Do you know what? Like, and especially like you've obviously got the money, you can just go private and then just say like, I just want to go through diagnosis. Whether you take the meds or not, like, it's up to you, because a lot of people's worry is, once I get medicated, am I going to change? And I would call it, I went through therapy for stuff with my dad, but I tried to speak to her about the ADHD thing, because I went through a bit of a personality crisis, because now I'm medicated, I started to overthink to fuck. Did my partner think I'm different? Did my family think I'm different? Yeah. Is my personality changing? Is it just me growing? I've changed jobs. Like, I'm not in sales anymore. I'm a coach now. Like, I went through this mad crisis, and then I spoke to this girl. She was a trainee. She left because her family are worth billions, and they sold their bank, and she's gone to Switzerland now. But
That'd
anyway,
be lovely.
And I sat there and I was like, I'm just a bit like, now I'm on medication. Am I different? And she went, it's a tool. That's how you need to look at it. It's not changing your personality. So has any of your friends noticed anything different about you? And I was like, no, I just seem a little bit less mental. She's like, but is your key personality traits change? Because you being a little bit crazy, people clearly like that. But were there times where your being crazy had pissed people off or jarred people and went, oh, fucking hell, all the time? Like throwing head kicks in an office over someone's head whilst they're on the phone. The dumbest thing in the world. Yeah. Why would you do that? Throwing spinning back fists in the office while you're doing a sales call. That's like, if you see a sales consultant doing that, like, yeah, cool, you've got your quirks, but like, fucking come on, mate. Like, what are you doing? I look back at myself and go, oh my God, it's so embarrassing.
Yeah. One time I was wrapping up a Secret Santa present, and I decided the best idea instead, this one I was a trainee, by the way, it's a long time ago, would be that I was just going to run around the office with the tube of wrapping paper, and then just shout the person's name as loud as I could in their ear. And there's this one guy, I won't say his whole name, but he's called, let's just say it's called Carl. And then I shouted in his ear, and he was a really angry guy. And then ended up having to have like 6 other consultants like convincing it. And he's a massive guy. He used to bench like 140 kilos, yeah. And I had some scrawny little rat, convincing him not to attack me. And thankfully, in the spirit of Christmas, he didn't. But he was not happy.
I've had so many instances like that. I remember one, we had like sports day, like a company sports day, and everyone wanted to just sit down and have a beer in between activities, and I was just like stood up doing keepy ups and throwing the ball and running across the field to go and chase it, and I'm like, come on guys, and I'm like, Charles, just fucking sit down, have a beer. And I'm like, we've just finished playing rounders. I thought we were going to play dizzy penalties. Like, come on. And everyone's like, mate, you need to just fucking chill out. And then the MD's son, who also has ADHD, he was like 6 at the time. We were just running around in circles, throwing balls at each other and stuff.
Do you know what they should do? Or someone should do? They should start a company where they only hire people with ADHD. But surely, no, if that was a sales company, that would be like the most energetic, like...
Slightly, somewhat dysfunctional as well, probably.
Yeah, you need to have some people that actually like kept track of stuff. Did the invoicing and that kind of stuff. But if you just had the sales floor, surely that'd just be like a superpower, no?
Yeah, it certainly can be.
Yeah.
It's just, it's once you know, like, I'm still on the journey of like trying to figure out how it works and how my brain is different to others. Because, mate, for the longest time, I remember my mum saying that, like, she used to have a journal when she was a teenager, and she was like, I look back through my journal and go, oh my God, because she was born in 1964, so when she was a teenager, it was in the 1970s. ADHD, autism weren't a fucking thing. And she said that I was so lonely throughout my teenage and 20s because no one got me. I'd be in a conversation with people, and like we spoke about things that most people wouldn't before we started to record, right? Those are the types of things I love I love really wacky. I've got a few key interests, and then the normal beige topics like what Netflix TV show, boring, like that. So normally, if I'm like having lunch with the rest of my colleagues and stuff, and they're talking around real generic shit, I'm just like, I just zone out because I'm like, I like to have like deep conversations about stuff. So I've been through many years of my life where I've got very good close friends, but I don't have a massive friendship group because I don't like bullshit. I don't like fake shit. I don't like small talk. I don't like any of that type of stuff. So I've always found, and only till recently where I've realised how my brain works, that I'm just different. Like, and that's fine. But when you're younger, you look at that as a disadvantage.
Why am I weird?
Yeah. Really, I mean, the lady that came on last week, Roxanne, and she was like, that's my superpower. Yes, I'm weird. Yes, I'm different. Yes, I think I'm amazing. Some people think that's fucking arrogance. It's a superpower. That's how I win a lot of business, because I fucking back myself.
Yeah.
So it's unlocking that side. I'm still getting there, but it's interesting.
I agree with that, though. I always think like if you want to be in the 1%, you've got to do shit 99% of people don't do.
Yeah. 100%, man. 100%. Well, look, we've been running for a little while. I'm mindful, actually, that you mentioned a lot about your process. I know you don't want to sort of share secrets, and then we touched a lot on retained, but I would like to kind of understand a little bit more about the RPO, and then unless you've got to run off.
That's fine.
Yeah, so with your process, let's talk about the RPO stuff first, because I think the process thing will come in nicely after that. One of your team, did one of your team win that, or was you working with your team?
One of the team did, but I think the thing, so we always have, and I think most businesses probably have this or should have this anyway, but like no matter what the account is, what level of consultant or person it is that's working with it, we will always have other people get involved to see if there's further opportunity. Sure. So this consultant was adamant to me that they'd got all the jobs with the client and had 5 positions. I went and spoke with the customer, and they'd hired something like 60 positions over the last 12 months. I was very quickly like, okay, and you're only going to hire 5 more this year? No, we've got at least 30 positions we need to fill over the next 6 months. Okay, cool, all right, let's go. So yeah, people will have accounts and work with them, but then we'll always have other people in the business trying to explore that full opportunity. Yeah. But it comes again down to like, what are the goals of that business? So like the conversation we had wasn't what positions have you got? Oh, we've got all of these. It's like, okay, what are you guys looking to achieve in the next 12 months? Oh, we need to build a business in this city. We need to start working within a different discipline of civil engineering. Like, okay, cool. How are you planning to do all of that? Oh, blah, blah. Okay, cool. We can help you with that. Let's go.
Yeah, nice. So when you were speaking about the retained stuff, like all the value adding and things like that, is that quite similar, I suppose, with like with the pitch in the RPO, or is there anything different that you look at before you pitch the RPO?
We're doing loads now, because I'm trying to work more as like a consultancy, to be honest with you. So our RPO, what have you got in it? Recruitment, as you would expect. I've got a developer to build a ATS for us that is our own ATS that we implement with customers. Damn. Reason why we do civil engineering, a lot of these people are like old school people that like the phone. like signing contracts in ink, like that kind of
Yeah,
vibe. If you gave them a bullhorn, they're going to look at them and be like, what the fuck is this? Like, what do I do with this? So we designed an ATS where we manage it all for them. It's all lovely, looks all nice. Applicants, if they like a candidate, they literally just click interview, bang, next thing you know, it appears in their, our consultants will go and do it. It appears in their calendar, all done, all arranged, candidates there then.
Mate, that's power.
All of the feedback on there. If they want to offer, they just click offer, type in what they want to offer and bang, then they've got an employee. We manage all the onboarding through it. So we give them that. We do employee value proposition. Last one we did was that 38-page long document where we give the customer a choice. They can pick up to 7 companies that they want involved in it, so it's 8 in total, and we go through all of the like branding that the other companies are doing, how they're attracting candidates, what they're good at. Like, for example, some of our customers have got really good schemes with universities, so they're really good at bringing in graduates and developing them in senior positions, XYZ. What can they do to differentiate themselves? What are all the salary benchmarks? How does it compare with others? Like, how do the benefits they've got compared to other companies? What's the perception of their companies from our candidates? And this is all real data that we've got, because we speak to candidates all day, every day. And then, it's lots of things like this that we encompass. So it's like a complete solution where they... don't really need to worry about anything.
Yeah, mate, no wonder you guys are doing so well, because like the guy I spoke to yesterday on the podcast, I said my biggest pet peeve when I go in to do training and they say, we want the consultants to sell more retainers. And I'm like, cool, all right, break down what your retained offering is. Well, we guarantee...
it's just filling a job.
We guarantee a placement, we'll shortlist this, and it's, quarter of a fee up front. I'm like, right, okay, but what... That sounds like your retained, your contingent service, but with money up front. What's the actual benefit?
And don't get me wrong, like, just for the record, I'm not Jordan Belfort, so yes, he's a very good salesman, but he also scam loads of people. So like, it's fair, like, fundamentally, so it's very important to me that the service is actually good. And don't get me wrong, like, this wasn't our service at the beginning. Like, we probably did start off somewhere. Well, not since Everhire, but I probably did first start off somewhere selling someone a retainer on the premise that I'm going to fill the job, but it's just developed along the way to where it is now.
Yeah, of course.
And I mean, that solution encompasses everything from contract recruitment, permanent recruitment, all of these other services that have been mentioned. Like, we meet face to face with the client. If they want, one of our consultants goes and sits in their office and works in their office, welcomes in all the candidates, blah blah blah. So, and I'm sure in another 12 months it would have developed even further. Like, for example, at the minute I'm looking to hire, I've hired one, but I'm looking to hire a specific marketing team that are actual marketers, not just, like us recruiters that try and do marketing, like actual marketing people. And then that'll be a bolt on as well, where, okay, look, here's all our marketing team, these can do all of this for you as well. I'm sure it'll develop further and further and further. And it's developing also slightly as well, because now we are hiring people to our business that specialise within certain fields. For example, we hired a load of people that do health and safety recently. I say a load, it was 3, but obviously we had 0 before, so that's a lot more. And we now give them to our customers as well. Say, look, health and safety is an issue that's got common problems. Like, we've got 3 in the house, really great health and safety people. Go and they'll come and work for you and solve all your health and safety problems. So I'm sure it will keep developing and developing and developing.
Mate, that's so much additional value to offer a client. It's like I said, no wonder you guys are, and this isn't me trying to glaze, but like,
you do get some of it in proper high level good executive search firms. Like, they will do like, it's quite commonplace in that, but I don't think it's as common in, but also as well, like 2.1 million, I'm happy to do that. But also, we will lay out costs for certain things. Like, obviously, we had to pay to have this ATS built. That was a cost. But in the long run, now we can use it across 10 different customers.
There we go. Absolutely. And when you said about your process as well, because obviously winning the account, like I said earlier, great at getting the retainer. Once you get the retainer, then fucking what? Like, What's the actual
So
process
one
after that?
thing with the process starts from the very first second you open your mouth and you speak to that person.
Yeah.
Or it could be if you're choosing to email first or whatever, like that's when it starts. Like it doesn't start once you win a job or once you're interviewing or whatever. Like it starts from the very first time you speak with the person. Same as selling an RPO. That starts the very first time that you start speaking with someone. So our process we follow to a T. So we don't work any job unless we have a meeting, either face-to-face or on Teams booked to present profiles. If any of these things aren't there, no, we're not doing it. First interview slots booked, diary things sent with blockers out. This is just for a retainer I'm talking about. I'll go on to the RPO after. Interview times booked for first interviews, confirm closing date for when they want to fill the position, then we'll work backwards and do the final interview days, buy-in from all the managers, and then terms signed off. Then we have our own internal process that we go through to get the candidates. It's 14 things that we do, and I'm not willing to share all of that. But then we follow that process internally. We've made sure we've got all of these things with the customer. Bang, positions filled by the date customer wants. They're happy. Retained service, they're happy with what we're doing. But then it's keep going out, upselling it, and getting it to that point of RPO.
Power.
If that makes sense.
Yeah,
But I don't want to give all my secrets.
Yeah, no, of
away.
course.
And I always feel so silly because I say stuff and I'm like, that doesn't explain it. But I'm like, I don't want to. Like, if you want to know, come and work with us.
Mate, to be fair, throughout the episode, I think anything from trainee to founder level and anything in between, there's been so much value that you've added to the industry in itself, mate. So, no, I do appreciate that. But look,
you've got to stay better than the estate agents.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Well, the whole point of this podcast is helping everyone get 1% better, which leads me on to my final question. Following this particular episode, how can people get 1% better in recruitment?
Same thing that I said to my consultants this week, actually, that I said to them. Like I've mentioned here, next time you speak with a customer or a potential client, when you're on that call, can you identify 3 things that they're trying to achieve, either as a manager, as a leader, as a business, over the course of the next 3 to 12 months, and then how can your service help that individual reach those goals, targets, or development that they're trying to get?
Love it. Awesome, man. Well, thank you very much for coming round, for doing the episode. I'm assuming people listening to this, if they do want to reach out to you.
Yeah, you're more than welcome to. LinkedIn, or I'm a recruiter. All my details are on my LinkedIn. So.
Absolutely, mate. Well, yeah, really appreciate you coming round. Thank you for the episode. And people that made it this far, I'll see you next week.
Thank you so much for watching this week's episode. I hope you've enjoyed. As I've said before, if you are not subscribing and following on whatever platform it is that you're listening or watching this podcast on, please go and do that. It really, really helps the show. I've got a monthly newsletter that gives you a roundup of every single episode. We're securing sponsorship to grow the podcast and make it better. For people that have been listening or watching to this podcast from the early days, you would have seen a natural progression in terms of the production quality, a lot more face-to-face interviews, etc. So we're only going to get better. We're planning on doing events. We're planning on having some incredible people on. So do us a favor, like, comment, subscribe, all those types of good things, and reach out to me. Let me know what your best episode is. Let me know who you'd want to see on the podcast. And if you are also interested yourself, I've always got space for cool people that want to share things that they're really, really passionate about. So here's to get 1% better. Here's to elevating the recruitment industry. And I'll see you next week.